Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is me, the Tsofato, and today I'll be sharing my journey of how I became a software developer. So I'll be starting all the way back in 2014 when I started coding and ending up now in 2021 when I'm a full-time software developer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do give it a thumbs up if you do. If you have any questions or anything to say, please drop it down in the comment section, or you can DM me or email me. All my details are in the description box. And please do subscribe, guys. I'm on the road to 10K. So yeah, let's get started. Before we get started, I'd like to send a huge shout out to Canva Toons, who sent me this beautiful canvas. So they contacted me and they said they want to send me a canvas. I'm gonna send them a picture, and I was thinking, I don't know what I should get. So I thought, hey, let me get a gift for my sister and her mans. And guys, it turned out so beautifully. So you send them a picture, and then they turn it into a cartoon, as you can see, and then they print it on a canvas, which is just, I think it makes an amazing gift. Or you can have one in your room or your house of like yourself or like your family. I just think it is so amazing, and it is on this hard canvas. It's really such great material, and I just absolutely love it. I'm like, oh, now I want one because I'm like, but I think they're gonna love it so much, guys. Like, I just love the colors, the beach, everything. And it's from a picture that they sent. So if you don't send them like a good picture or something like that, they'll let you know, and then they'll give you some guidelines on what to send, and then they can just turn it into like a canvas and a cartoon. And I am like, this is so amazing. Like, I think it's gonna make such a great gift. So please do check them out, guys. It is canvatoons.co.za, and I'll have their link in the description box, so please do check them out. Let's get started with my journey to becoming a software developer. So in 2014, I had a blog, and yeah, so I just had a theme from Blogger, and I just kept things simple. But I got to a point when I wanted to change things up on my blog. So I was like, how do I even like move things and so on? And that's when I discovered HTML and CSS. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I want to learn more about this. So I started getting interested in, I was in grade 9 at this time. So I was about 15 years old. Yeah, I was 15 in grade 9 when I started coding 2014. So yeah, I just started checking out, I was interested. I downloaded some apps from Play Store on how to code, and I just learned HTML and CSS. And I didn't do anything too hectic. And then somewhere along the way, I learned about game development, and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. So in grade 11, I started learning game development, and I made my first and only game that I've ever made. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, I can share it with you guys in another video. But I made the game using C# in Unity. So it was very challenging. I used the book called Learn Game Development in 24 Hours. It's just basically 24 chapters that teach you like game development. So I followed the tutorial in that book to create my game. Some parts I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, okay, the tutorial says I must do this, so I'm just gonna do it. So I learned a bit, but also I was just mostly following the tutorial. So yeah, and also at that time I also started doing IT at school in grade 10. I started with Scratch. I started from scratch. Yeah, so I started with Scratch. I wasn't really a huge fan, but yeah, it was cool. So I started with Scratch in grade 10, and we did Scratch from term 1 until term 3, and then term 4 we started with Delphi. So yeah, so from grade 10 to matric, I was doing Delphi at school. It was alright. It's challenging here and there, but overall it was good. I did okay in IT. I really enjoyed it, and I also had a great teacher, so it was a good experience. So I really liked it. Or like, I never felt like, okay, like, I just felt drawn to it the whole time. So I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna go study this after like I'm done with high school. So I was trying to decide if I should. I was really also interested in robotics. So I was like, oh, should I go like somewhere like software engineering or that route or something? But then I realized I'm not really into like the hardware aspect of stuff. I'm really just into software. So since I wasn't really into the hardware aspect, I thought that computer science was for me. So I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to study computer science. So yeah, guys, I studied computer science at the University of Pretoria from 2018, and I graduated earlier this year in 2021. So, I did it on time, so that's great. I had some challenges, like when I got to varsity, it was the first time I actually struggled academically, and I was shocked. I was like, what is happening? Like, it was so different, but it was such a great experience, and I learned so much. It had its ups and downs, but yeah, here I am now. I'm a computer science graduate or whatever. Yeah, but I have shared a video about my experience with studying computer science. So if you do want to check it out, I'll have it up in the cards and also in the description box. All right, guys. So now I'll just be sharing my working experience throughout the years and what I had on my CV. So straight out of high school, my hospitality teacher said we can put her on our CV because for our hospitality restaurant nights, we used to like waitress. So I put like waitressing on my CV, and I put her as my teacher as my reference. So that was great that, my CV was never like completely blank. So I got my first job actually straight after high school. In the December after high school, I was working at Soshanguve Crossing at the, like the Father Christmas setup where the kids take pictures with Father Christmas. So I was there like working at the setup. I was like the photographer and also like, managing things around there. So it was quite hectic because like I worked like every day for like 2 whole weeks. So it was like a lot, like from going from never working to now working like every day from the morning until late at night for 2 whole weeks. It was a bit tense, but when you get your money, it's nice. And it's just, yeah. So that was my first job after high school, the December after I finished matric. My first year, I worked at a retail store where I was just like a retail assistant, and it was also a bit hectic because my first day was on Black Friday. So I was like, it's so hard. My legs are so sore. I'm getting 20 rands an hour. Like, it was a lot. I also shared my experience about, working in retail. If you want to check that out, I'll also have it up in the cards and in the description box. So, but I really appreciate that job. Like, even now, like all the money I make, I really appreciate it because I'm like, wow, I was once at that point making 20 rands an hour. But also what's great about it, like I really enjoy to make my own money. I'm like, oh, look at me, girl boss, I'm here, out here making my own money. But yeah, that was another job I had. Second year, I didn't really have a job, but for our school, we had like, at Tugs, there is a module called JCP, which is a community project we can volunteer at. So I volunteered at Sage, and they had the first Lego League competition where we were like teaching kids like robotics and just managing the competition. So also put that on my CV because I mean it's related to what I do. So I'm like, hey, this is gonna look nice, But I also really enjoyed that so much. It was such a great experience and such a good project, and like I really had a great like experience. And that video is also here on my channel of like the whole community project. If you want to check that out, I'm just linking all my other videos. But this is, after all, my life story. But yeah, so that's the job that I had when I was in second year. It wasn't really a job, it was just a community service project, but I thought, it could add something to my CV, so I also added that. And then my final year, I applied for this job to work at like as a promoter at this event for this lady. And she was actually like, hey, I saw your CV and I'm looking for a web developer, because I did write that I'm studying computer science on my CV. She's like, yeah, so I don't really need you for the event, but I'll contact you when I need a web developer. I'm like, okay, cool, look at me, So guys, this shows like you don't really always have to apply jobs that you like qualify for or so on. Like you might just get into the right places, you never know. But actually the day of the event, the lady called me. She's like, the person that was supposed to promote at the event didn't show up, so can you come? So I actually went and I was promoting. I think I was just meant to be there because it was like an entrepreneur summit. So I worked like 2 hours, and the rest of the time the people were listening to the summit, so I could also listen in. So I was like listening to all these things. I'm like, okay, I'm listening, I hear you. So that was really great, and I really, appreciate that job. After that event, the same lady asked me to be like a graphic designer / web developer for her, but I mostly did like graphic design work. I was doing like social media posts and so on, and I mostly used Canva. So yeah, that was great to make money and also to gain some experience, and it was like my first like remote job. And yeah, also during that time, I got another job as a web developer. So this was my actual first real job related to what I was studying. So that was really great. I was working as a web developer. This was like right when lockdown began. So I had 2 jobs at the time, and I also had school. So I was like, hey, doing this and this and this. It was a bit hectic because also with my web development job, there was some stuff that I didn't know. Like it was my first time working like a real job, so I was like had to learn that. I was learning at school. I was doing these social media posts. I was doing my YouTube channel, so it was a bit hectic, but overall it was really good, and I'm really glad I did that. So yeah, and during that time I quit my graphic design job because I felt that like I wasn't getting paid that much, and I also already had the other web development job that I thought was great, and I was getting paid like a good amount, and I also wanted to be able to balance things. So yeah, so now I had my web development job, and I also stopped that also during the year because it was my final year. Things were a bit tense, and yeah, so I focused on my final year. And then in November, or what's the month before November? October. October or November, somewhere around there, a friend of mine sent me a post about some company was looking for an IT intern. So I'm like, okay, and I applied for the job, and then I went in and I got the job straight after the interview. They're like, okay, you can start on Monday. I think this was around like Wednesday when I went, and I was like, whoa, I got the job. I was so happy, guys. And this was also like right before exams started, so it was a bit tense. But it seems like I like to take risks and do a lot of things at once. But yeah, this was right before exams. So I was working as an IT intern. I worked in November and December, but I wasn't really doing much coding. The only thing I really coded was like an HTML signature. So yeah, and also another thing that I worked on was like some WordPress websites. So I was glad I got to like, it was my first time like meeting with clients like within like the workspace and so on. So I did gain some experience, but unfortunately in December they told me that they cannot afford to continue paying me in 2021. So that was the end of my contract. After that, I wasn't really looking for a job because I still had an exam in January 2021, and I really wanted to make sure that I passed because I really wanted to graduate. I was so done with school. So yeah, so I wrote my exam, and a few days after I wrote my exam, I got like I'm not sure what it's called, but like the letter from the university that says when I'm going to graduate. So I was super excited, and I posted that on my Twitter account. It got a lot of likes and retweets, and I got a lot of people saying, apply here, apply to this, apply to this. And someone also contacted me and say like, oh, I'm interested in the job. I'd like to set up an interview with you. And yeah, so I had the interview, and that's the job that I have now. So I got a job, and I'm working as a software developer. It's actually the company that I was freelancing at last year when I was busy with school. So that's where I'm working now as a React Native developer. So it is really great. I get to work on mobile apps, and I really enjoy that. I'm like, look at me making mobile apps. Like, this is what I do now. So yeah, guys, that is my experience with becoming a software developer. That's my whole journey, my life story. So yeah. All right, guys, so that is the end of today's video. I do hope you guys found it helpful or entertaining. That is just, my life story or my journey to becoming a software developer. If you have any questions, I am here to answer. Please do check out Canva Toons if you're looking, for a cool canvas for yourself or someone. I think it makes a really great gift or just nice to have. So do check them out. The link will be in the description box. And yeah, guys, that is the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Alright, they asking her the queen. I'm a bad bitch, she's a savage. Look back while I twerk. No comparison.